Welcome back, guys. Welcome to another video to my YouTube channel, or on my YouTube channel basically. And today I want to basically speak about how I try to automate my outreach on Instagram and why I switch back to manual outreach. And yeah, let me show you guys something quick. So for me, I hope I'm still centered. Okay. So for me, why I switched from automated leads to finding manual outreach leads is the key thing was you get so many leads, like 3,000 leads, 5,000 leads, and you see all of these leads and you think you literally, have an endless lead generator. But the reality of it is that really 4,950 are literally trash. I mean, literally trash, and 50 of them are good, around that. And it's way more quantity than quality, and that's why I basically switched back to it. Wait, let me give my mic a bit back because I see I'm way too loud. But that's why I mainly switched back to manual, because the output was way too low quality from the leads I was getting. I mean, many of them didn't even speak English even in the first place. Many of them just speak Arabic or Spanish, not not normal language, because normal language would sound false, but a language with a high buying power. I can really assume that, okay, his audience has the buying power to, buy even the product in the first place, so that I can really make a good offer with him. And yeah, but let's go back to what I prepared for you guys. And this is basically why when I started, I believed that automation was the smartest path, because it saves time, it saves literally energy, because I'm also working, so I have only around 5 hours a day or 4 hours a day working on this, so I want to use my time as efficiently as possible. So I thought this could literally be an autopilot. I will show you the strategies later which I used, so if you want to use it, they are working. But the only problem is you have to go on it a bit differently, if you know what I mean. Maybe I did something wrong, but I know this works. But the problem is still, as a beginner, you can invest much time in it, but obviously going out there and reaching out manually will give you way more quality on even reaching out in the first place. And what I discovered is just, change how I think about growth, efficiency, and real progress actually looks like. And what I thought again is just more leads means more opportunity. So basically I'm seeing 3,000 leads. That means for me, okay, one of them is gonna message me 100%. One of them I'm gonna sign 100%. But the reality is just 2,000 are some random meme pages, and 900 are some Spanish or I don't know, Arabic speaking creators that don't have any buying power even in the first place. And then around 50 or 30 are good creators out of 3,000. And the reality is just automation without understanding often scales confusion. And kind of happened, because obviously if you're an experienced tech developer and you actually know, okay, this code is working, and not only do it with AI, it's obviously a lot different. And the shift was just getting closer to the real work moved me forward than any tool, because there I actually got quality leads. I don't say they're low as quality, but you definitely see a difference, guys. You definitely see a difference in the quality aspect. The only problem is always, obviously, when you search manually, it takes way more time. It takes literally what AI does in 10 minutes takes you 3 hours. I mean, searching for 100 prospects literally takes around, I can say it from experience, on my topic right now, with, I have a very good criteria of even being qualified. I think it needs around 100 prospects. 30 I'm getting done in 2 hours. So if you scale it up, I'm guessing around 6 hours to 7 hours. And that's obviously a lot of time. And these are basically the two systems that I use. First off being, bright data plus sheets, and then AI filtering the sheet, basically the contacts that got in it. And I actually can show you then some live examples how I do it, or how I did it basically, and why I even want to switch in the first place. And the second, option that I used, or I mean, I tried the first one way more, if I can say it like this, but the second one is also not bad. Basically, you make an Axiom lead finder, which is gonna do the suggested account method for you, and then it's just gonna do it in a spreadsheet and it's sorting it out with AI again. Okay, so the first system is obviously bright data plus sheets, and then AI filtering the sheet with very good criteria. And obviously this didn't turn out very good, because otherwise I wouldn't be even making this video. So I mean, it's not bad. Again, it's not bad. It definitely can work, but for me it's way too low quality leads for the amount of momentum I'm getting, if I can say it like this. And very important is, I used Claude for the automation tool. So basically I made with ChatGPT and prompt for Claude. I'm not even trolling. And then when it made the prompt, I know that Claude has like a daily limit. I took the results and just got to ChatGPT. And with ChatGPT, I'm just simply, saying, okay, what is missing from my piece? What can I still amplify? And then, ChatGPT is so good in coding that it basically did it for me, the amplifying part. And yeah, it's just bright data was, it's just scraping. You can also use it for TikTok profiles. I haven't used that. I'm gonna be fair with it. I haven't used that, but I have used data scraping with Instagram profiles. And I must say, it's kind of giving you not the best quality leads, if I can say it like this. And obviously then the AI filtering with an cloud automation. Then the goal, obviously, of, volume and speed, let's get as many leads as humanly possible to get as much volume as possible, because everybody talks about it. Outreach is a volume game, not a sales game, I guess. I mean, it's a sales game, but it's more of a volume game. So next is definitely the Axiom lead finder plus spreadsheet, and then just sorting. And what made this think a bit better is because it already used what I did. It used the suggested account method anyways, which I did anyways. So again, just going hand in hand actually, and that's why I think it worked a bit better. But again, it's just collecting leads without manual looking, because obviously Cloud can do basically the prompt and can look at all of these metrics and filter it out for you. But very important to say it, guys, or to say, is that Cloud or this prompt cannot go on Instagram or Social Blade. Why? Because it detects AI, it detects bots. I mean, Axiom doesn't get detected, but if it, qualifies it, we're going back to the Cloud prompt again, and then this doesn't work, okay? There's the problem of the strategy that basically Cloud cannot go to Instagram or to Social Blade and just not can give you even the real data. It just relies on the data bright data give you, or Axiom lead finder gave you. If you see it otherwise, then it's still getting a good lead, or is a qualified lead. And obviously cleaner organization, it's structured sheets with sorted filtered data, obviously, because it reached it out manually, the AI did it manually for everyone itself on Instagram itself. So it basically knew kind of what it's doing. But again, the problem is with the qualifying part. And obviously the more scale, it's just higher volume than any manual process, because you can't do more than, and it's obviously less manual effort, so you are less, if I can say it like this. But this is the main part why I'm switching back right now to manual, is because the qualifying part was not as good as I would intend it to be, if I can say it like this. That was my biggest main problem. And now what stayed manual is obviously always, I reached out manually, I reach them out always manually to get personalized message. I always ask something in my first message. I'm always keeping it very short. So what can I say for an example? Let's say, it's like a fitness creator and he had some transformation and posted that he was in the gym today. So I'm basically kind of saying, hey, creator name, I saw your story in the gym today. And by the way, love your transformation and discipline for the gym. And also, do you offer some kind of advanced support for guys who want to step up in their fitness game? I don't know. I just come out with something. If you analyze it right, I'm just, basically making a personalized message with the transformation, with the story. Then I'm just asking a quick easy to answer question. Very important, easy to answer. That's like literally what I would, say to do. And yeah, that was kind of it already to, what state manual, because that's just what it is. I always reached out manually. I never tried to automate that even in the first place, because I know there's my leverage. Even if I have 10,000 leads, I can write 10,000 with a bad message and still get no client. And I knew that always. So obviously what I started noticing is that obviously that I had more leads than before. What was it, like 2,600 leads, around that? And 2,600 leads is like actually like, bro, hello, relax. I mean, I've never had that many leads in like a good time. I can definitely say that. Actually never, if I'm gonna be honest. What I always got is just very unqualified leads, like from this 3,000 or like 2,600 leads, there were like only 100 qualified. And from that 100, like 30 were even good. I'm not even trolling. And that's, what it's showing me. It's just more noise, more tabs, more management, and fake progress. That's what I talked in one of my first videos, where I basically talked about where the beginners get most often stuck. They're figuring out this process, but the process doesn't give you anything back. I mean, it can give you something back. This is like more like it can make you money, but it also can't. I think it's like a bit too early in my journey to do this, and it's obviously also the trap of looking productive. I always, I don't know if you have this. I always, when I'm, just feeling productive, I kind of know this. I'm not even trolling. I kind of feel okay, like, but this doesn't move the needle at all in my business. Okay, you always have to think about this. Okay, guys, this is very important to know. Okay, very important. If you're just starting out with your agency, only when you are working, basically your company is working, because you don't have leverage, you don't have employees. When you're working for a company with 3,000 or I don't know, like 500 employees, the business owner doesn't have to work every second, because obviously he has the leverage of your time to do so, if that makes sense. So every second you're not working on your business or on income producing activities, you're simply wasting time in the first place, or in the beginning. That's why I also said in the beginning, don't stress about the website, don't stress about this unnecessary things. This is again like kind of a same feeling that I got, and yeah, it was again just kind of looking productive type of thing. And obviously what gets built is systems and dashboards, spreadsheets, automations, workflow and pipelines, tools, and obviously stacked on tools. What's very important is this just feels productive, because you see you're getting these leads, you're reaching out to them, you're making those 30 messages still a day. But the problem is, are those really sale opportunities? Are those really potential buyers even in the first place? Are they really qualified with your real criteria, and without like AI filtering out, with yourself filtering out? And this is basically what actually matters, is just real conversations, replies from prospects essentially. If you don't get replies, you're doing something wrong. And trust has to be established, obviously, and the sales opportunities created. That's kind of what I talked about. Are those really sales opportunities, or are those just leads? Because there's a big difference. That's why you always, when someone's like literally farming out an ad form, it always gets called with the phone with an appointment setter, and he has to qualify this lead to make sure it is even worth considering the business time to. And yeah, why I moved back towards manual, I kind of already teased this, but also better market awareness. Basically, kind of when I switched back to, or when I did, automation, I kind of also felt like, okay, right now I'm just, making everything with AI. I'm creating my message with AI. I'm creating literally my leads with AI. So I'm just kind of stepping away with the game, but I'm still in the beginning, that doesn't even make sense. Okay, I haven't like fully explored, how can I say, the dungeon yet, and that's kind of what better market awareness is meant, or what is meant with that. And obviously better lead quality control, I already said this. You get way better lead quality if you control it yourself, way better lead quality, and obviously you have more focus. So more focus on, like, let's say a specific lead. This lead is a good opportunity. This lead is a very good opportunity. And then, these are my 5 best opportunities out of the 30s I just looked at. And you also know that because you manually looked through it. If you get like 3,000 leads, obviously you don't look through everyone. And obviously, the faster execution is like kind of a part, instead of managing just systems, it was very much closer to actually being at it. It's actually like work that you had to do, like not just list. And that's very important. And I think I just skipped. No, I didn't skip anything. Okay, coming to this one. And that's also very important to understand this, because what manual work or manual outreach actually teaches you. And this is obviously, what a good prospect looks like. You can't fake this with anything. If you know what your prospect looks like, you just know it, okay? You have to understand what your prospect really looks like. What's a good fit for you? You kind of get this. I right now have around, like, I say, like 600 messages that I send it out manually. I think 400 of them I outreached myself and 200 like with AI. And obviously, what bad leads look like. Sorry for my mispronunciation right now. Very important is also to know what a bad lead looks like, because I've never would have known that when I've never done the outreach myself, to that basically AI gives me a lot of shitty leads. And this is obviously, also very important, is just patterns in the market in general. What kind of person responds more to you, or which niche or which metrics they have that make them respond more better to you. I've personally already noticed that if you ask one for a one-on-one mentorship program, if they sell something like this, or if they help guys with this, they are probably, in my experience, they are more likely going to respond to you. I've personally looked at this. I'm not even trolling. You get a way higher response rate if you're asking this, if you're a shadow operator, obviously, for my field. And, obviously, messaging reactions. So what that means is just basically, it's kind of you're improving what you're writing. So how can I explain it the best? Let's say you're outreaching like 50 messages or 100, okay, and you don't get any reply. Then you obviously know, okay, I have to do something different. And that's kind of what is meant by that. And you have to analyze it yourself before you can even, get a system to analyze it for you, because it must still know the principles. And if you don't know the principles and the AI doesn't know the principles, it's just gonna guess. So obviously, where attention really is, you must discover your own ICP or ideal customer. Did I right now pronounce it wrong? ICP, right? Ideal customer, ICP standing for, I don't know, but I think it's called ICP. And it's just the ideal customer that's, wanting to buy from you basically, or fits your criteria the best. And this is also, you can teach this, okay? You can't, like, literally, you have to kind of get to know or let yourself a bit more into the stuff of actually knowing your ideal customer, or what they do on a daily basis, or what they have to do, what are their goals in general. So what are their goals for this year? What are the goals for next year? What are the goals in this month? What are the actionable steps or actionable goals? And again, this is just a quick summary of that what we talked about right now. Just manual outreach, then prospect evaluation, then the lead filtering, market patterns, reaction feedback. You always have to know how to react to feedback, or what is meant by that is not actually that. I mean, obviously you also have to know react to feedback, but it's what is meant by that actually right now is I kind of misthought about it. But it's meant, if you're outreaching again to like 100 guys, they're giving you no responses, you have to change something. Then obviously the attention mapping, and then, the cycle repeats itself. So my real lesson out of this, everything is automate too early and you scale confusion. Very important set. Automation is a very, very powerful tool that you can utilize, but very important, again, we are going back to the ICP that I said, your ideal customer is just, when they are buying from you, or when they, not like buying from you, basically your ideal customer that wants to buy from you, okay? You have to kind of, know that even in the first place, who that is, how he acts, what he does, what type of message he responds to. And only then then, okay, only then you can automate it. Why? Because then you're not guessing, okay? Then you're not like guessing, because if you don't know it, AI doesn't know it too. So you're just kind of, or AI is guessing for you. And this is simply a bad decision, very bad decision. And this is just a lesson that took me like a bit to realize a bit, I'm gonna be honest. And obviously, you know, if you automate too early, you know, you scale confusion and you simplify first, you build something real and sustainable. That's very important to say that you can automate later down the line. Also very important to say that. That's kind of already it. We still have like 2 pages left and I'm already at 30 minutes, guys. I'm always trying to make these videos as quick as possible, but I'm always talking so long. Like, it's so funny. I'm not even trying. But what I recommend for you or for beginners is, you know, start here obviously on the manual lead research and, you know, manual outreach to basically learn everything we talked about right now. You know, how does your criteria apply? You know, what is a good lead? What is a bad lead? How do they look like? What is your ICP or your ideal customer? What does he do? How does he look? Which niche does the most often apply to or reply to you? And it's all kind of these things, you know, which kind of go into basically making you more dangerous even in the area or in the niche, because, you know, it just grows your outreach skills in the niche, because you always have to think about it in the bigger picture. There are some things that apply in general outreach advice, but there are things that obviously, you know, nobody knows, because nobody's actually, some guys know it obviously, you know, because they have a deep dive in this niche, but obviously they don't talk about it because they know it's a gold mine. If you know which, you know, kind of responses triggers which niche, you basically have a gold mine, okay? Because you know how to get responses based on demand, okay? And obviously also based on, you know, psychology and copywriting. And that's very important to say that, because you first have to learn the skill and then automate, because again, you don't want AI to guess for you, okay? You don't want this. And obviously, you know, then later you can automate it. In the beginning you just can, and then you scale with it. This is just my final thought. Sometimes the fastest move is not more automation, it is just less distance between you and your customer. And then I also shared some photo, or I don't know, like picture that I think summarizes it a bit good. Basically shows real attention, personalized to the customer, and not just giving it out like a robot. And basically what I thought, you know, would work for me is, you know, obviously more automation, more tools, more speed, more leads. But what actually worked for me, even still in the beginning, is just less leads, less prospects, and just a simpler overview over everything and just doing the work. Because if there's one rule in life, guys, you can't skip the work. You can't skip the work. It's just impossible, okay? That's kind of it, guys, because I actually don't have nothing more to say, because yeah, I mean, I already talked a bit about my experience and I've gone through the model I use. Oh wait, I can actually, what I can do right now still is, I nearly forgot about this, I can actually show you guys how this looks like. This is how it looks like, and you can see like here, guys, this is like literally so much code, and I did this all with ChatGPT. I still know this for this, and I still remember I also wrote it down, I think. Yes, this should be like the best leads as possible, and I'm still, you know, like only writing like 60% of them. So kind of I'm gonna be honest. And here everything I basically, you know, filled in, it's already lagging because it's too much. Not like say, okay, guys, I really speak from experience, okay? You always have to really think about this. I've never actually lied on this channel in my whole life. I'm not even trolling. Yeah, I mean, I didn't make that many videos, so maybe in the future. No, I'm just kidding. No, just kidding. If you want another like outreach session, I don't know, any video, just give me some suggestions in the comments, and I will see you in the next video again. Bye.